First up on the show, voting is underway in the first phase of the Assembly elections in India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. A voter turnout of 58.19% has been recorded till 5 p.m. Now, polling is being held in 8 constituencies of Jammu and 16 in the Kashmir Valley. In Kashmir, the seats are spread across Pulwama, Shopian, Kulgam and Anantnag districts, while in Jammu, Kishtwar, Doda and Ramban as well as Banihal districts are having polls. This is the first assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir since 2014, and it's the first since the removal of Article 370 that gave the erstwhile state special status in 2019. Now, this is also the first time that Jammu and Kashmir is seeing an assembly election as a union territory. When Article 370 was abrogated, the state was also divided into the union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Over 23 lakh voters are deciding the fate of 219 candidates, including 90 independents. This includes 566,000 youth voters. There are 3,200 polling stations with 14,000 polling officials deployed for Phase 1. Prominent candidates in Kashmir include the CPIM's Mohammad Yusuf, who is seeking a 5th consecutive term from the Kulgam segment. AICC General Secretary Ghulam Nabi Mir is hoping for a 3rd term from Duru, while National Conference Sakina Itu is seeking another term from Dhamhal in Hajipura. The PDP's Sartaj Madni and Abdul Rahman are also key candidates from Anantnag. Some of the key contests in the phase are from Sri Gufwara and Bijbera as well as Pulwama assembly segments. In Jammu, the contestants include many former ministers including Sajjad Kichlu and Khalid Najid from the National Conference, Viqar Rasool Wani of the Congress and Abdul Majid Wani from the DPAP. Now, a 3-tier security system has been set up to guard the polling booths. Special polling booths have extra security in areas close to the line of control and the international border. Results of the 3-phase assembly elections will be declared on October 8th. And for the very latest on this, we are now being joined by a special correspondent, Idris Sloan from Anantnag in Jammu and Kashmir. And Idris, you're of course in an important constituency of Anantnag. We'll be talking about that in just a bit. But the voter turnout has been substantial as of 5 p.m. Take us through what are the expectations of the voters. This is an election happening after 10 years. And of course, one of the major issues has been statehood. How is that being reflected?
Well, exactly. There have been huge queues of people since morning outside every polling booth. Let me tell you, we are not in Anantnag at the moment. We're in Pulwama now, where we also saw a huge number of people coming out and casting their vote. Since morning, all the districts of Kashmir Valleys in South Kashmir, which includes Anantnag, Pulwama, Shopian and Kulgam, have seen huge number of participation of people to come out of their homes and cast their vote. It was after 10 long years that people got the chance to vote in the assembly elections. If we talk about the major issues that people have been facing in the last, especially in the last 10 years, a lot of people were disappointed that the democracy was not being returned to the Kashmir, especially to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir for a long time, and they were deprived of a democratic government in Jammu and Kashmir, and that's one of the reasons we've seen huge number of people coming out and casting their vote. On the other hand, the major issues with regard to the locals and especially with regard to the youth have been the unemployment. There has been huge unemployment percentage growing every year in Jammu and Kashmir, and that's one of the biggest concerns. And that's one of the reasons that we saw a lot of young boys and girls both coming out and casting their votes since morning. On the topic of Article 370 and the return of statehood, the regional political parties have been promising from day one of their campaign that they will work on getting back the special status, which is the Article 370 and 35A, and also the statehood back to Jammu and Kashmir. While as on the other side, we've seen BJP only promising that the statehood would be returned to Jammu and Kashmir just after the election, but the Article 370 and 35A for them is history, and that is never going to come back to Jammu and Kashmir. On the other hand, we also saw some of the very important political changes taking place in the Kashmir Valley with regard to the alliances. The India alliance still holds, and the National Conference Congress and the CPIM still a part of that alliance. But PDP playing solo in this election. But what was most interesting was the Awami Ittihad Party of Engineer Rashid coming in alliance with the Jamaat-e-Islami, and they will be the biggest challenge for the regional political parties like National Conference and PDP.
Yes. And let's talk a little bit more about the candidates. In fact, 90 independents and the entry of the Jamaat-e-Islami is also a key factor in this election. Of course, there's the PDP, the National Conference, the People's Conference, the BJP and the Congress. But in South Kashmir, this is going to be a fractured vote, a volatile area, a region, but a fractured vote may be the possibility here.
Well, absolutely. Too many candidates this election. If we talk about the political parties also, every political party has fielded their candidate. Even if we talk about the National Conference and Congress, which are in alliance with each other, they also have 5 seats wherein there will be candidates from both the parties. They're calling it a friendly contest, but they will both be participating in those areas as well. In today's election, there were 219 candidates in the fray, out of which around 50% are independent candidates, and they also belong to parties like the Jamaat-e-Islami and as well as to the Awami Ittihad Party. So it's definitely going to create a dent, especially for the regional political parties like PDP and National Conference, which were pitched against BJP only earlier. But now with the formation of new alliances and new parties in Jammu and Kashmir, it's definitely going to dent the vote share of political parties like the National Conference and PDP. On the other side, if we look at BJP, they have made inroads in many areas in Jammu region, but they've not been successful in winning a seat in the Kashmir region. And this time also it looks very difficult for them to make that entry. But we've also seen in the parliamentary elections, they had alliances with regional political parties, although they had not announced it officially. But despite that, those did not yield them any results as well.
Right, Idris. Thanks very much indeed for joining us with all those details. We will keep coming back to you for more. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.